Are you a real estate investor looking for a way to automatically send deals to your agent? Well, you're in luck. In this video, this is part 2 of real estate deal notifications. I'm going to show you how you can take deals that you get into your spreadsheet and automatically send them to your agent using Zapier. My name is Ariel Herrera, your fellow data scientist with Tech and Real Estate channel, where we bridge the gap between real estate and technology. If you enjoy automations using tools like Zapier, then please like this video so I know to make more content like it. All right, let's get started. In the last video, we took new notifications that we got in our buy box from Zillow to our email and put them into a spreadsheet automatically. We also are able to calculate metrics like cash flow, cash on cash return, and even ratio to square footage for a bedroom. We did this using Zapier. Zapier is a tool that allows you to automatically connect different applications. We were able to get everything into a spreadsheet once we had a new listing. Now for this video, this is part 2 of 2, where we're going to send SMSs, so texts, to our agent in this example. We can also send emails as well. So I'm going to jump right into the news app. So this app I've called SMS email properties that meet criteria. In total, it's 4 different steps. Now, if you'd like, you could put it all in the same Zap as previously. However, I like to break them up at times just so that it's easier to read, especially if you need to troubleshoot down the line. So here we have our first Zap, which is an action. What we want to do is every time we get a deal that meets our criteria, so maybe cash flow is positive or a certain amount, we want to then send that to our agent. Why? Well, in a competitive market, time is of the essence. If we wait on a deal, we can maybe be offer number 6, 7, or 8. And at that stage, it could be too late. So by being able to quickly send deals over to our agent, we can quickly tour the property and hopefully make an offer. So here we're looking at whenever Google Sheets has a new spreadsheet row. This means we had a new listing. You need to connect your Zapier account to your Google Drive. Then for the trigger event, our spreadsheet is going to be that same spreadsheet. Now, if you want to use the same spreadsheet that I have, you can go use the link below to get the download from Teachable. If not, you could use your own spreadsheet. I have my spreadsheet called Demo New Property Listings from Email, and the worksheet is called Properties. I have my assumptions like down payment, interest rate, and so on. That helps me to calculate cash flow. So now that Zapier knows to look for a new spreadsheet row in my given spreadsheet of property listings, I could then test it. Now, since I've created this already, I already see some spreadsheet rows. You can find new records so that Zapier knows an example record to look at. Here we have row 22, where the street address is 2307 W. Powhatan Ave in Tampa, Florida. If we go over to our property sheet, this matches the latest address in row 22. The same information will follow. We can continue with the selected record. We don't want to send every single deal, right? Even though we have our buy box and it's already a filtered view of what's currently on market, we only want to send deals that meet certain criteria. So maybe in this case, they meet our cash flow requirement. So I'm going to use filter by Zapier. So it only continues the flow if a certain condition is met. If you come from the programming world, this is simply an if-else statement. If we continue and go over to filter, setup, and testing, you can set what your criteria is going to be. I'm going to look at cash on cash return. So in our spreadsheet, we're calculating cash on cash return in column G. This is used by the assumptions that we have in our first sheet, as well as some of our expenses and income going down the line. Here, I'm looking if that column is greater than 0. So if there's some positive cash on cash return, I want to send this deal. If we retest this filter, it's going to say, in this case, our Zap would not have continued because our cash on cash was negative 11%. But what if we were to continue just setting this up for future deals that could potentially have positive cash on cash return? Let's click continue. If our deal passes our requirement, we want to send this as a text message so we can get instantly alerted. Maybe we're sitting in a meeting at work, but we could look quickly at our phone and see, ooh, there's a deal. I know to look at it right away after I get off this call. Here, our event is going to be send an SMS. For our account, we'll quickly set this up. And again, this is free through Zapier. For our action, this is where it gets pretty interesting. So here you can select what the from number is. That way, maybe you could save it if you'd like. You can set what's going to be within that text message. So for me, I like to see several different things. New listing property. So I want to see the property address. This is just bringing in the same variable from our spreadsheet. So if I were to click here, you could see that we can insert data, new spreadsheet row in Google Sheets. If we open this up, we can enter any of these fields. In this example, I've already entered in the ones I'm interested in, which is street address, price, beds, baths, square footage, rent, cash flow, and cash on cash return. Every time a deal passes my criteria of having positive cash on cash, it's going to send this whole part over to a text message. I want to not just see the address, but I want to know by the numbers, is this something that I want to continue looking at? Maybe if cash on cash, I'm looking at an area that's mostly always positive, maybe now my criteria is starting to shift that I want to look when it's positive over a certain amount. So this text really helps. And the last part is you test it out by having your own phone number, and you can submit a free test and it will send you a text message with that street address and the subsequent information. What's the final step? Well, we also want to notify our agent, and we could have notified our agent in the previous step, but I would assume they maybe get a little bit annoyed if we're sending them every single deal via text. Usually email is a little bit more of a free-form way to send consistent updates. So here I'm connecting to my Gmail account, and the event is going to be creating a draft email that could be sent. Now you can auto send this email, but again, I don't want to bombard my agent, so I want to create it as a draft. That way, after I get that text message and I'm like, that's a great deal, all I have to do is open up my Gmail on my app for my iPhone and then just quickly send whatever was drafted, making it a lot more simplistic and automated. So here, if I go to account, you will connect your account, then your action. So you're creating this draft. There's going to be a subject line, and I'm going to say schedule viewing for, and here I'm entering in that street address from my spreadsheet. That way the agent will know right away, hey, the action is to schedule a viewing for this specific property. Right now I have it just to my email. So I would ask your agent and say, hey, would you mind if I send you updates via email for properties that met my criteria if I wanted to schedule a viewing? You probably say yes, makes their life simpler, and you can enter in their email here. Then you will state here, who is it from, which is my email here. Body type as plain. And for the body, you can customize this as you like. Here I have, hey agent, could you please schedule a viewing for that street address? It meets my investment criteria for cash on cash return at, and if this is following correctly, it will only show those properties that meet my cash on cash return. I would like to view the property on site as well. Please align the viewing with my calendar here. So for example, you can maybe have your Calendly link or even share your Google Events calendar so that you're going back and forth. That's completely outdated. Try to automate that piece if possible. You could create this draft if you like. You can test this step. If you go back to your Gmail account, you should see that email pop up. So what if we want to analyze the property in more detail before we make an offer? Maybe we toured it and we know we want to move forward. However, we're not sure what to offer it. Here at Coffee Closers, we could see this property pulled up. It is listed for $400,000 with a price cut, which motivation to sell. It's a 3-bed, 2-bath, 2,000 square feet. One of the things is that it is a window unit for some of the air. It's not fully central air, but it's in Greater Carrollwood area, which is generally a good area, and it's been completely redone inside and out. So maybe we're willing to forego that it's not fully central air because it has new fixes. The neighborhood is a score of C+. The economics, it's pretty good. The median household income is above the state average, maybe not as much as other areas in Tampa, but relatively good. We could look at the market and see some other metrics, like what the median cash on cash is, which is typically 14%. So this being 3%, I know that it's above the median, which is a good thing. It's probably one of the best deals for this particular area in terms of cash on cash. We could look further down to look at this particular property on the map. It's kind of in Greater Carrollwood, which is more of a B plus area. It's not entirely in it, which is why the school districts don't align as being the best schools. So I would agree with the neighborhood score here. And we could see below our rental comparables and sales estimates as well. For the rental comps, they look to have very high similarity score. So I'd be very comfortable diving into these and seeing which ones I could rent the property for. But let's go back up to actually evaluating what I should offer on the house. So we have here this value of 407. What does this mean? This is basically an estimate of what the property is worth today. So if we look over at our purchase tab, we could see that we're pulling in estimates from various different sources. Once we aggregate these, we have an estimated value. This property is actually listed below value, but as I said previously, we know why, because there's window units and it's not fully central air. Maybe we could even go a little bit below asking, and we could see how our cash on cash would differ. But what if we want a house hack? Maybe this is one of our first properties to get into real estate. We can go over to house hack, and if we go to the rent tab, we can now see how that has adjusted based on our strategy. We could see now the rent is split up by the bedroom. We could also look at estimates here. So we can evaluate what our deal could look like today as we are house hacking it, but also what the deal could look like in the future if we were to rent it out traditionally. Let's run the numbers as if we're doing a house hack. So in this case, I'm okay with giving away the master bedroom. So bedroom 3 is going to be rented out $800, bedroom 1 at $700, and I'll live in bedroom 2. Our total rent now is $1,500. And even though we're not going to cash flow, because usually you don't in a house hack until after you leave the property, we could see here that almost 60% of our expenses would be covered just by doing a house hack, which could help us save even more for the next deal. And if we wanted to give away Zapier and have a process that could be automated just like it, but within one platform, we could use coffee closers and set up our own buy box, even down to the strategy like house hacking. Hope this video was useful. Can't wait to see what you build in automation and technology. Thanks.